Understanding the financial situation of a household is key in any divorce proceeding. Divorces can be messy, but understanding a household's financial situation doesn't have to be. In this video, I'll show you how FinAware can simplify the divorce process and highlight the financial situation of a given family. I'll show you how the FinAware system can easily intake bank statements from multiple checking, savings, and credit unions and analyze those statements for things such as income dispersion, income verification, discrepancy analysis, hidden asset detection, lifestyle and expense analysis, debt concealment, and other such things. I'll show you how you can use the FinAware system to dial in on certain kinds of transactions, like looking for large cash deposits or checks that have been withdrawn against the account. With FinAware, you don't need to know how to program. If you can ask your question to the data, FinAware will provide those kinds of transactions. Here you'll see is an example of the information that would be requested of someone going through a divorce. 6 months of bank statements for any bank accounts. Also credit card and debit statements for 6 months. And other such statements showing income or expenses. Moreover, other questions such as debts and monthly expenses such as your cell phone, electricity, fuel, HOA, and other such expenses are asked about. FinAware provides an easy way to summarize this information and get monthly expenses, amongst other analytics. It's as easy as asking the question in the FinAware system. So let's dive into it. Here you'll see a bank statement for Bank of America that would be provided as the statement for a bank account. We saw 6 months of such statements are requested for all accounts. So by the end of this, you could have hundreds of pages of PDFs with bank transactions. Now to analyze this with any detail, you would need to have this data usually as an Excel spreadsheet so that you can do your analysis based on that data. Now when you're given this PDF, it can be a painful and time-consuming process to digitalize this into a format that is accessible for further analysis, to see the sums of expenses or the sums of cash coming in or out of a given account. FinAware simplifies this process by, once this PDF is provided into the FinAware system, we provide easy digitalization of that data and visualizations as well. You can then download that data as an Excel file where you can perform your analysis, or you can perform the analysis within the FinAware system itself. Here's one such case that I've already uploaded into the system, and we can see the transactions coming into these accounts as green circles with their amount, and transactions out of the account as red circles down below. This is one such timeline that provides an overview of the account's activity. So we saw a few things were asked of the individual going through the divorce, such as their expenses and how much they're spending on their car loans, say, or their utility bills. So here I would like to show, out of all these transactions that occurred, we can ask such questions as, show me transactions relating to car loans. And the system will then provide those details, those transactions, and it'll highlight it. Here we see, out of all the transactions that occurred, FinAware is now able to dial in to transactions relating to car payment. Here we see there's 3 such transactions that have occurred. We have dates of the transactions, which are from the underlying PDF and are on the timeline. If I click one of these transactions, it links directly to the bank statement. Here I've clicked it. Here we can see this transaction. It's highlighted. We see payment, car loan. We have a date. We have amount. All of that is shown. And then we also have these other two transactions for car payments. So on our statement, we can provide such details of how much is spent on a given car loan or car payment, and we can see those transactions over time. We can also ask other questions. So we also saw utility bills. So we can say, show me transactions relating to utility bills. And again, the system will display. Here we have a water utility bill in 2018, and here we have a utility bill of $600 in 2019. See how easy it is to ask FinAware for these transactions relating to these different categories of spending. So now, more importantly, we might want to know about any transactions relating to loans. So here I've just copied and pasted. Show me transactions relating to loans. I hit enter. Then the system will provide all of those transactions relating to loans. And we can see a detailed breakdown of those transactions in a text description. And we also see them on the timeline with their amounts. And so here you can see the flow of new business loans, money coming into an account, money going out of the account, car loans, business loans, and so on. So you can then verify the information provided to you on how much in loans were taken out with the FinAware system, and you can see if there's any discrepancy with that data. Moreover, another thing to ask for is you can see, show me transactions from fast food places. So you can see the sort of monthly spend on fast food. And here it will pull up transactions relating to fast food. We see a Wendy's, a Popeyes, a McDonald's, and a Subway. So you can gather all this information. And again, you're able to click on these transactions to pull up where they occurred in the bank statement itself. So you can verify everything that you're seeing within the system. Now, outside of just gathering general expenses and the totals for those expenses, you can see and filter on the data on more important things, such as show me mortgage transactions. And the system will be able to pull up those details. So here we see one transaction for a mortgage payment. And if we click it, we see payment to what we presume to be the mortgage company. Now, more importantly, you want to verify where cash is going, whether it's cash deposits or if it's cash withdrawals. That may indicate some suspicious activity. And so you can ask the FinAware system, show me cash deposits. And then the system will be able to pull up that information, which then allows you to look into those transactions and see if there's any suspicious activity that is occurring, such as large transactions prior to the divorce case proceeding. So if a person is trying to hide certain assets, maybe they make a large cash withdrawal and then transfer that to someone else to hide those funds. FinAware allows you to really get an in-depth breakdown of where those transactions are occurring across multiple accounts, multiple statements, and really gather all of that information into a very easy and convenient format and provide visuals and analytics on it. You can also ask things like, show me check transactions, right? So two major ways of moving money could be whether it's cash being sent in or out, or a check that's being sent or received. So here we can see all of these check transactions. We can hover over them and get a detailed breakdown of those checks that are occurring. You have this right-hand side providing all of those details. We can also ask questions such as, show me transactions to other accounts. Right? A common question in divorce is, who's getting the money, who's receiving money? Is it outside of the norm, or is it just common? So here we have transactions to other accounts, and you can see in the transaction detail, we have certain details like who it's from, account transfers out, account transfers, and other such details. Each of these could be a lead to investigate, especially if it's a large amount that's going out of the account or coming into the account. You can verify based on the transactions you're seeing and the disclosed information from the other party if that information is correct or not, or if the other party is underestimating how much money is being brought in or moved out. And then there's no query too big or too small for the system. So here, if you want to know about Amazon transactions that were made, you just type it in, show me Amazon transactions, and the system can then pull up those transactions. So you see how it's very easy to ask about particular things in the data and then see the results without having to go through thousands of transactions or hundreds of PDF pages from a bank statement. So here I've asked for Amazon, and we see multiple transactions relating to Amazon. Fast payment from Amazon, transfer to Amazon, and so on. How can this be used? There's a few ways. So income verification, the client states that they make, say, $100,000 in a given year. There's a few tools within FinAware that will allow us to verify that. We can click on the accounts chart and see a detailed breakdown of money into a given entity and out of that entity. So here in this example, we have a breakdown of $1,000 coming into JP Morgan, whether that's your income from your job or maybe an account you use for your savings or what have you. You can see we have income going out by personal check. We have even check numbers. So this view gives a very detailed breakdown of where the money is coming in from and where it's going out of. So with these sums and totals, you're able to check the stated income or expenses of a client and verify that they are correct or within the ballpark of the data that you were provided. You can also, through this accounts chart, you can see if money is being funneled to, say, a third party, and if money is trying to be hidden. So, say, a certified divorce analyst would need to verify that the income declared in financial affidavits match the income coming into a given bank account. This accounts chart is one very simple way to do that and to check that everything adds up. And if it doesn't, we have other tools that will allow you to see the flow of funds, such as the Sankey chart. So here we have the Sankey chart, which shows the flow of funds between accounts or between entities, and we can then correspond that flow of funds and verify it against the provided information in the affidavits. So you can see all of the outgoing entities and how much was sent to them through the activity in the accounts. And then you can see the incoming. You can see which accounts are used to pay mortgage bills, and so on. From this Sankey chart, we can see hidden asset detection. You can follow this visualization to see the flow of funds, for example, from salary deposits into various secondary accounts, which might be a suspicious investment account or a transfer to a relative in a large amount, all things that would need to be verified as to why those things occurred. You can also look at the balance chart of the accounts over time, which would be able to show things like large withdrawals or deposits, say before the divorce proceeding, and you can track that activity. You can easily look into unexplained cash deposits and non-cash benefits As we saw, by asking for transactions involving cash, FinAware can easily highlight these transactions and give you an overview of when they occurred, and then associating that information with the other visuals such as the accounts chart, you can easily narrow down what's happening with the use of that cash. Then if you want to see your data from a different vantage point, we can download the data as an Excel file. We can open the Excel file, and you'll see that FinAware provides various details based on your transactions. So it provides the account number that the transaction occurred in, the date, the description. We provide features such as a norm description to try to narrow down on the important information within the description field. So you'll see here, this provides a category for the transaction that you can then use to either create additional analytics on or investigate further. Right, so this is an easy way if you want to know all transactions for Wendy's. We can just come here and search for that, and then we have those particular transactions. Whereas if we just use the description column itself, we have all these other details, and so we wouldn't be able to just filter on Wendy's from that alone. And we generalize this transaction into another category called the merchant code category, which is often found on your credit card statements. So this is a higher level category of what this transaction is doing monetarily. Is it related to discount stores or grocery centers, supermarkets? Is it related to fast food, and so on? And so with this, you can then filter these transactions by those particular categories to really dive into your expenses per whatever the category is, whether it's utility or if it's for advertising, say for a business, or if it's for commuting, how much you spent on the bus lines and so forth, child care services. All of these categories are provided into FinAware, and you're able to use them to really narrow in on how much is being spent per each of these categories. So here we see the transaction is Kinder Home Care, and we can see how much has been spent on Kinder Home Care in total, and we can verify this against the provided information for the total expenses. So FinAware augments and supplements your data by providing the norm description for the transaction, and we also provide the merchant code category so that you can filter based on that information and get a general idea of what's going on. Here we can also look at financial institutions, cash disbursements. So we can look at particular categories that might be related to the flow of cash or checks. And then it's as easy as filtering on that, and we can see all the transactions that might be worthwhile in investigating further. We see checks, we see deposits, we see ATMs, ATM withdrawals, and so on. And then we can look at the details on how much those withdrawals were for, and then simply enough we can actually click on this link here, and it will pull us to the location that that transaction occurred at. Here I have in this other tab, I've clicked on this transaction, and we can see this transaction is in this bank statement, and we see cash, ATM, we see an amount, we see a date. So all of the information provided in this Excel file is easily linkable to the original bank statement, but just by clicking this View PDF page. Then FinAware provides other details such as the page number of the transaction on the original bank statement, and we also provide things like the type of transaction, whether it's a deposit, a withdrawal, a payment, a fee, and so on. So with all of these additional details, you can really narrow in on what's occurred within these accounts and you can follow the funds as needed. Outside of that, FinAware provides easy access to check data and checks that occurred, whether the check itself was provided in the PDF and shown. You can come to this check tab and then click View Check. That also pulls up the original check image that was found, and you have other such details of the check like the amount, the payer, payee, the bank it came from, the memo, and other such details related to the check. So that's how FinAware can analyze these transactions and assist in the divorce case proceedings. If you would like to try FinAware on your own case, please reach out to us. Check the description below for contact information. Thanks for your time.